So players, if you've been following along with this channel for a while, you know that I haven't really covered Captain America Brave New World all too much, and that's just because I've noticed a significant disturbance in the film's aura.
I have a fantastic aura. Jeff, don't have a good aura.
Harrison's dope because every time before we roll, he's like, let's shoot this piece of
Oh my God. Leave the man's aura alone.
What? I'm like, yeah, Harrison.
I have a Hall of Fame aura.
Which, as we all know, is quite important when it comes to these movies, but I truthfully have just not really been too interested in it. I think the movie is going to be less a compelling story about Sam and more a vehicle to propel a major shift in the MCU with Tiamut and the changes he will bring via the resources they can extract from his celestial body to the global economic and political levels of the MCU. I think this might be a hyper stepping stone MCU movie. I think on the surface there's a handful of cool things to look forward to, so I will simply be doing what any YouTuber who is quite exhausted in the soul department but too afraid to take a break and have YouTube buck with his reach, who would actually appreciate you hitting the like button, maybe that subscribe button as well, would do.
Excuse me while I pull something on my ass.
Players.
A quick vibe check for Cap 4, an aura audit if you will, and we will find out if it passes or if it's safe to assume it is currently in aura debt. Firstly, we're finally going to get some Hulk action. I've always felt where the Hulk is right now in the MCU would have been a more satiating place to arrive at and way better received had we seen an actual trilogy with a feral, angry, savage Hulk. You know, it's a no-brainer, obviously. I need 6-story hops. I crave accordion crumpling punches. Just like your ex, I'm dying for some thunderclaps. You know what I mean by that. We didn't have enough time for that with Mark Ruffalo's Hulk, so it feels like we had a decade-plus itch that has only ever been lightly scratched but never dug into. But I do feel Ross as Red Hulk is going to do some crazy shit to make up for that lost time. I also have just always liked the matchup between Captain America and Hulk, like an enhanced individual with some type of buff, like even Black Panther. I know it's not a fair fight by any means unless you're fucking Thanos, but I think that can really serve to show the brilliance of these types of characters, the brilliance of Captain America tactically. I think especially now we're dealing with Sam Wilson as Cap, so there's more elements at play in terms of risk since he's not enhanced, but that makes things more exciting. But then we have the added elements of like him having a vibranium suit, so you know, how much damage is Sam realistically going to be able to endure? And with wings, how will that change the dynamic of the fight? Are we really about to see Ross snatch Sam out of the air? Just seeing how Cap will approach and navigate their eventual battle is so damn interesting to me. The action seems like it could be worth it. I'm excited, of course, to see Danny as Joaquin Torres in a major Marvel Studios release, and even if the movie is lackluster, hopefully he's a highlight. I guess there is upward mobility in being the Falcon, no pun. Yeah, pun intended. That actually kind of is bars. The latest trailer, for whatever reason, was dropped at the same time as the latest Thunderbolts trailer, and although that was kind of strange, you know, almost like Marvel Studios was trying to use one of them as insurance for the other, but not knowing which one would have to be the insurance in that scenario. But I can't lie, it did get me kind of hyped. I honestly might have liked that trailer more than I liked the Thunderbolts trailer, and I've been really hyped on Thunderbolts. The movie at one point was described as a paranoid thriller, which sounds cool. For me, of course, it would just be a regular thriller, but seeing a kind of political or government conspiracy being unraveled by Sam and Joaquin could actually be quite entertaining. I think a lot of what would fuel that is the background antagonist of the film, Samuel Stearns, the leader, and Seth Volker, or Serpent Society's Sidewinder. Now, obviously, Tim Blake Nelson finally back after almost 20 years since The Incredible Hulk as the fully fledged version of the leader, which is awesome, and I'm sure he's the person that's orchestrating all this chaos that we've been seeing. And Giancarlo Esposito making his MCU debut, not as Charles Xavier, not as Magneto, not as anybody that we thought, but as Sidewinder, essentially a Serpent Society teleporter, which, you know, teleportation is still really cool. Again, it's a more inspired casting than the typical Giancarlo fan cast we get, so we got some good stuff that passes, while we got potentially a wasted Giancarlo casting. The aura level is still at baseline, okay? The trailer looks good, but we've seen good trailers for bad movies before, players, so that's where we'll stop with the positives. And where this aura audit turns was not so chill. So among the reasons why I haven't put much energy into this film is first off the reshoots of the extensive variety. Now I believe a majority of this movie was shot from March to June of 2023 and was supposed to come out this past May, moving instead to July 26th and then ultimately to be released February 14th of 2025. They've literally done, I think, about 3 rounds of reshoots for this, adding Giancarlo Esposito just as recent as this past May, and more reshoots are currently happening right now, which doesn't really give me all too much confidence that they have much confidence in their material. Reshoots are typical for movies, but apparently early test screenings were not received well, and then after supposedly cutting 3 major sequences, reshooting lasting for almost a year and a half, plus adding a whole new character at this point in time has not changed much due to the movie still being received poorly by more recent test audiences. The writers also, I would say, aren't horrible, but it's not much to brag about, truthfully. I think Malcolm Spellman will really need to have carried this script. Writing is hard as shit as it is, so the person translating the writing should be someone you have faith in and confidence to lift the best aspects from that script and plaster them over the big screen. But truthfully, I'm not sure that I have that level of confidence in Julius Ona, the director. So let's just say, plot and story-wise, the movie ends up being ass butter. That would leave one thing to look forward to, but since so much is being reshot even now, with its astonishing $350 million budget, I question whether or not the action will even action. You know, I don't know if they will have enough time to refine the CGI for this movie, and I feel like with all the changes they're making, it's going to be a huge toss-up for whether the movie is hyper mid but has really good and entertaining action sequences, or is ridiculous and laughable. Again, this movie could end up blowing me away. Stranger things have happened. I just cannot for the life of me see how it will, and that is why I have to declare until further notice, through my science-backed, pending FDA approval, shit-maxed, foundationally alchemical system, Cap 4 is confirmed in Oregon.
Oh!
I have green steam coming off of you. It's called aura!